Episode 25, The Price of Rain, Finale. At the altar, every villager of Mist Village had gathered. Luong confirmed the count. All accounted for, no one missing, Lada said. Then the ceremony will begin. At his order, men moved to light the great torches atop each wooden pillar. Fire bloomed overhead, and the whole sky brightened. As the flames took hold, the Tibetan characters carved into each pillar began to glow, a cold, yellow light seeping out from the carved grooves. The villagers knelt in rows, clasped their hands, bowed their heads in supplication. Around the circle in which they knelt, red points of light appeared like embers embedded in the earth, and from the base of each of the 8 pillars, burning channels appeared, thin grooves of fire running outward to meet the surrounding circle. All around the formation, the night was absolutely silent except for the murmured prayers of people who still believed they were prostrating before a god. Old Zen and Tuok, dressed in stolen guard uniforms with cloth covering their faces, stood motionless and watched. They did not understand the precise mechanics of what was being arranged before them, but they understood enough. Disaster was assembling itself. Following Lada's instructions, a pair of men lifted a large bucket of water and carried it toward the black stone slab at the center of the circle. They were about to pour it into the slab's hollow when a distant explosion shook the ground. The carrier stumbled, sloshing water almost to the rim of the bucket. He caught his balance, and Tuak caught him, steadying the bucket with one hand before a drop could spill. Longta's eyes swept the darkness, certain the intruders were staging a disruption. The explosion had unsettled the villagers too. Their prayers faltered, fear rippling through the kneeling crowd. Longta turned to Lada. "I'm going to investigate. You stay here. Whatever happens, complete the ritual alone if you must. We are almost done. Nothing can be allowed to go wrong now." Lada nodded. "Go, leave this to me." He turned to the villagers and raised his voice. That sound was a sign from the gods, the proof of divine wrath. That is why the ceremony was called earlier than planned. Do not be afraid. Pray with sincerity, and the gods will be appeased. Continue. The 2 men with the water bucket resumed their approach to the stone slab. One of them was now Tuak. The water was poured into the hollow of the black slab. Lada raised both arms toward the sky, closed his eyes, and murmured his incantation. When his eyes opened, he used the bowl to scoop the first serving and poured it out as an offering. Then he faced the villagers. "This is sacred water drawn from the god's spring, prepared by our shaman himself through prayer. This water will wash away every sin each of you carries. I will keep you healthy and safe from sickness and harm. Pass it among yourselves. Each of you take a small sip, and from this night forward you will live under the god's protection. Amana Ka." The villagers rose as one and chanted, "Amana Ka, Amana Ka, Amana Ka." And they formed a line, orderly, obedient, each one moving to the stone slab, receiving a small bowl of water, drinking a sip, returning to their position to kneel. Tuok watched. Half the village had drunk. The water in the slab was almost exhausted. Lada ordered, "More water." Tuok and the other carrier picked up the bucket and moved to refill the slab. Tuok's mind raced. He was this close. One small action would expose everything. But if he did nothing, the plan would fail. He let the wooden serving bowl slip from his fingers. It clattered and rolled across the stone. Lada's eyes found him. The fury in that stare could have curdled blood, but time was short. And Ladil let it go with only his expression. He nodded for Tuak to retrieve it, and that was the opening Tuak had created for himself. Crouching to pick up the bowl, he wiped it quickly and then plunged the entire bowl into the hollow of the slab, stirring the water as he pulled it out. He took a small sip himself and passed the bowl to the next villager in line. "Get out." Lada's voice cut sharp and low. "You're making mistakes. Leave." Tuak bowed his head and slipped back. But in his mind, Master Luong predicted it exactly. Everything is going to plan. The only question now is what comes after, and where is Old Zhen? Old Sheng was elsewhere, creating a diversion. The explosion that had nearly toppled the water carrier had been his work, and it had done its job. Long Ta tracked the sound through the dark and found only a smoldering crater with rising grey smoke. He cursed. "Damn rats! Where have they gone? This whole rat has been waiting for you." Long Ta spun around, a deep voice behind him. Under the torchlight, a figure had materialized from nowhere, broad-shouldered, completely bald, skin darkened and weathered, body lean with sinewy muscle, age worn into the face, but not into the frame. Old Zheng's eyes burned in the dark, with a blade-sharp coldness that stopped Long Ta's feet. "Was it you? You killed Ba Fu, beheaded Ma Doc?" Old Zheng replied, "And next will be you." I made a promise to Master Luong that I would spare innocent people, but you are not innocent. You are one of Mo Chok's 4 guardians. You are the man who planted terror in the hearts of every person in this village and helped carry out the cruelties that kept them prisoner for decades. I don't care whether you are from China or Tibet, but you killed my people, so I will take your lives one by one. Show me what you have." Swoosh! Without giving Long Ta time to respond, Old Zing drew his knife and drove straight in, slashing at the face. Long Ta was fast enough. He dodged and raised the torch as a shield. The torch was cut clean through. It tumbled to the ground and slowly went dark. Only moonlight remained, cold and thin over the forest. Long Ta drew his own knife and steadied his stance. He understood now why Ma Doc had lost his head. Old Zhang had moved before Long Ta had fully registered the attack. And in the moment of the slash, Long Ta felt something warm on his cheek. He reached up. His hand came away wet. The slash had grazed his face. If it had landed fully, half of his jaw would be lying in the dirt beside the extinguished torch. Long Ta swallowed. Old Zing stood still as a standing stone. "If you were young, I would have taken your life in one cut. It seems I've truly aged. Someone as weak as you managed to harm our people. Times have changed. Go, before I feel you aren't even worth the effort of killing." Long Ta's pride ignited. Over decades, the 4 guardians of Mo Chok had been the most feared beings in the village, the arms of the so-called gods, the executioners of divine punishment, figures before whom every man and woman trembled. No one in the village had ever stood against them. And now this old man was sneering down at him. Long Ta put everything into his grip and charged. He didn't know that he was invincible only within the borders of this forest, that in the world outside, this small village was a blade of grass on a vast plain. He didn't know that the old man across from him had been born and reborn through fire, had killed enemies beyond counting, had walked wounded through entire battles with the dead still warm all around him. While Luong Ta spent his life in this valley, Old Sheng had spent his own being remade by war. Old Zhen watched Luong Ta's approach with faint amusement. He had already won the moment he made Luong Ta angry. With a slight smile, he said, "Looks like someone has to die before this ends. Come, clean, clean." Sparks blew as Luong Ta's blade struck Old Zheng's and drove him one step back. Luong Ta pressed forward, slashing again and again with all the fury he had in him. Old Zheng moved between offense and defense, reading his opponent's form, waiting. The older the ginger, the sharper it burns. The instincts of a special forces soldier do not retire with the soldier. Age had slowed Old Zheng's body, but his mind was still exactly what it had always been, and for that reason, he had needed to anger his opponent. Hatred and rage had finally stripped Luong Ta of the last of his composure. He was all attack now. No thought, no patience. Bang! In the middle of one of Luong Ta's frantic slashes, Old Zhen found the opening and drove his knife into Luong Ta's stomach. Old Zheng himself was breathing hard now. He could not pretend otherwise. Age was real, and the long night of violence had cost him. But Luong Ta, stabbed, refused to fall. He left the blade lodged in the wound to slow the bleeding and kept fighting. Old Shen had anticipated this. Phew! The knife tore back out of the wound, pulled by a thin wire tied to the handle. Blood spurted from the reopened gash. Luong Ta grabbed at it with both hands to slow the flow, and in that moment, Old Zhen came forward fast, faster than he had moved all night, and the knife was at Luong Ta's throat before Luong Ta could close his eyes. "Go down there," Old Sheng said quietly, "and wait for your master." Swoosh! One clean cut across the throat. Blood scattered red across the earth. Bump! When Old Zheng stepped back, Luong Ta was already falling. 3 of Mo Chok's 4 guardians had now died at Old Zheng's hands. What Chok had believed to be an impenetrable stronghold had been breached and broken by a man they had dismissed as a mouse. Old Zheng was nearly finished. His body carried the bleeding lines of every slash Luong Ta had managed to land, none deep, but enough to drain him. He sat down on the ground beside the body and turned his face up to the sky. The moon shone down, bright and cold. He let out a long, slow breath. "I'm really getting old." Then he remembered. Tuok was still at the altar. Alone, wherein Tuok had managed to complete what Master Luong assigned him, he didn't know. Too much time had passed. Old Zheng pushed himself upright, shaken with exhaustion, and walked. Meanwhile, Master Luong and Bao had made their way back to the wooden house without difficulty. Mo Chok had committed everyone, guards, slaves, all of them, to the altar and the ceremony. He had placed his entire remaining strength on a single final throw. The house sat silent and empty. Torches still burning inside. Nobody left to watch. Bo said, "It seems they've gathered everyone at the demon's sacrifice altar. Not a soul here." This isn't hard to understand. Tonight will be a terrible night, and the more deaths that occur, the stronger the bridge of souls will be. I believe Mo Chok intends for everyone in the village to die. Everyone, without exception. Bao's voice came out in a horrified whisper. Even his own people? Evil magic has always been this way. Relatives. Family, wife, children, none of it matters when the goal is within reach. He will sacrifice anyone. Bao clenched his fists. How can a person treat human life as trash? Such a person truly deserves to die. Master Luong, what do we do now? Master Luong pointed to the strangely shaped black chair against the wall. When we were tied up and brought here, you saw Mo Chok appear from behind that chair. He came up from underground. There is a secret passage below. We need to find it. They ran to the chair and examined it quickly. Master Luong was right. There was a hatch behind it, but opening it was not simple. He pointed to a small, round cavity set into the foot of the chair. The lock is here. When Mo Chok came up, he was holding his snake-headed staff. The size of this cavity matches the staff's end. That staff is the key. And without it? In theory, yes. But if we can destroy the hatch by force, that is a different question. Master Luong had barely finished speaking when Bao was already searching the room. As soon as Master Luong finished speaking, Bao grabbed everything within reach that could be used as a battering tool and drove it against the hatch. The hatch did not move, not by a fraction. Damn it, it's solid as rock. Master Luong opened his bag and drew out what old Jean had placed there when the group divided. He held it out to Bao. Do you know how to use these? Bao looked at what was in Master Luong's hand and could not hide his shock. Grenades. 2 grenades. Where did old Zong? He said to keep them for protection. Can you use them? Yes. Of course, I knew it. Old Zong kept them after all. By using grenades inside an enclosed space is also extremely dangerous. If we're careless, we'll be the first to die. Give me a moment. To destroy the hatch, Bao decided to fix both grenades to the chair legs directly above the hatch's center, and detonate them remotely. When a grenade explodes, cast iron fragments spray in every direction and cause massive destruction. Bao found a small roll of rope hanging in Mo Chok's house, unraveled it, and carefully separated each strand. With Master Luong's help, they pushed the chore until one leg rested at the middle of the hatch. Bu tied both grenades tightly to the chore leg, threaded a strand of rope through both pins, and ran the line long enough to reach the far side of the room. He worked with slow, steady hands, because one mistake here would not be a second chance. There was a heavy, blood-red stone table against one wall, solid, substantial. Bao tipped it onto his side. When I pull the cord, we get behind this. Don't put your head above the edge for any reason. Ready? Master Luong nodded. Ready. Bao held the cord in one hand, lifted his head just far enough to confirm his aim, and pulled. Can. 2 pins clattered to the floor. Bao threw himself behind the stone table. Master Luong pressed down behind it. Then, when the world shook, wood flew apart, smoke and dust choked the room, and through the protection of the overturned table, they could still feel fragments hammering the stone in front of them. Iron and rock and splinters, all of it rattling the table that shielded them. Even with their hands pressed over their ears, the ringing in their heads afterward was nearly blinding. Bao pushed through the rolling grey smoke. Koof, koof, did it. He pressed through the haze and peered down. Then he shouted with raw joy, Master Luong, Master Luong, it worked. The hatch isn't fully destroyed, but there is enough room to climb through. And below, there is a mechanism. There really is an underground passage. Master Luong grabbed a torch and held it over the opening. A stone staircase descended into solid darkness. Bao took the torch and led the way down. The deeper they went, the larger the space became. When his feet touched the cave floor and he raised the torch, even Master Luong exhaled in something like awe. This is a very large cave. Along the cave wall, Master Luong found a long groove cut into the stone. He told Bao to touch the torch to it. Fire caught in the groove and raced away from them. A running line of flame sweeping through the dark, lighting the entire cave as it went. Could something this magnificent really exist here? That is why Mo Chok chose this valley. His lair has been here for decades. I'm afraid our difficulties have only just begun. Hurry, we have very little time left. At the far end of the cave, another explosion shook the earth from above. Mo Chok understood the cause without being told. He had expected as much, but he had to stay focused on the ceremony. Nothing else could take his attention now. He turned his thoughts back to the baby. The infant opened her eyes. They were large and round, and they had turned blood red. Two small fangs pushed at the corners of her mouth. She opened her lips and began to cry. It was not the cry of her ordinary child. Oh, keek, keek, keek. It was sharp and terrible, a sound that carried weight like a physical force, a pressure that drove into Mo Chok's chest. He had been standing nearest to her. The cry hit him like a blow, and he staggered, vomiting blood. The blood dragonstone began to crack. They had to stop it. He could not allow the baby to continue crying before the demon soul had entered her. Uncontrolled crying released the power of the demon mark too early, into the air, into nothing. Mo Chok used the last of his strength to cast a barrier around both the child and the stone. The baby quieted and returned to sleep. Mo Chok straightened, barely. He reached out with his thoughts. Everything is ready. Yes, in the altar area above. Lada heard the master's voice in his head and replied, Master, all is done. The villagers have all drunk the water. You also drink. Lada hesitated. This, he. Don't worry. It is only water. If there is infection in your body, it will come to nothing at all. You don't trust me? Lada immediately replied, Master, forgive me. I did not mean that. He scooped water from the bucket and drank a full bowl at once. Then he ordered every one of his henchmen and slaves to do the same. When all of them had drunk, Lada stood before the kneeling villagers, raised his arms to the sky, and called out, Amanaka! The villagers prostrated themselves and answered, Amanaka, Amanaka, Amanaka. With each chant, the fire in the circle burned brighter and darker, shifting toward red. Dark clouds were swallowing the moon. Wind began to move through the air, carrying strange, whispering sounds that seemed to come from no direction, and every direction at once. The villagers shook with terror, certain that the gods were descending, and bowed their heads lower. Then Lada's first henchman clutched his chest. Cough, cough, puff. Before he understood what was happening to him, blood ran from his mouth. His eyes rolled back, whites showing. The others moved to help him and recoiled. His cheeks bulged outward. Something was moving inside his mouth. The man collapsed. Blood flowed from his mouth, his ears, his nose, his eyes, and from each of those openings, black centipedes larger than normal began to crawl, raising their heads, wriggling their blood-soaked legs, scattering into the darkness. One after another, the rest of Lada's henchmen fell the same way, convulsing, vomiting blood, each body becoming a shell from which spiders, snakes, and centipedes emerged to vanish into the dark. From the corpses rose black smoke that coiled upward and gathered in an arc overhead, a cloud shaped like a bridge. Lada watched with cold satisfaction. This is the bridge of the dead, the master described. The more who die, the sooner it forms. Ha ha ha. It is complete. You people, consider yourselves fortunate that your deaths serve a purpose. The villagers saw the deaths happening around them and prayed harder, more desperately. None of them dared look up. They did not know that what they were praying to was a demon. Below in the cave, Mochok felt the bridge forming. Broken as he was, he smiled. I have succeeded then. His fingers stroked the sleeping baby's face. Just a little more. He never finished the thought. You wretched Mochok, I have found you. Bao's voice, raw and full of everything, rang through the cave. Mochok turned, unhurried. He had expected this in the end. He looked at Bao and the Master Luong, and something in him softened into a kind of genuine respect. Here earlier than expected. You are remarkable troublemakers, but I will say honestly, every one of you has shown real ability, especially that gravedigger. I believe now that you are truly Gu Quan's disciple. Your intelligence, your depth, you are an extraordinary person. If you had been in China, your reputation would have surpassed even your master's. It is a pity that you appeared here only to oppose me, but none of this matters any longer, because you are too late. Everything is already done. The Demon King's arrival needs a few witnesses to confirm that this historical moment occurred. In time, the ancient way will rise above all others. Ha ha ha! Master Luong had rested while Bao carried him through the cave. He was on his feet again, though barely. He signaled to Bao and replied. And the ancient way was destroyed by the wickedness of people like you. Every other sect holds human life as its highest priority. They guide their followers toward goodness, toward the cultivation of virtue, toward the teachings of the Buddha. The ancient way takes the demon as its guiding principle, uses demonic cruelty as its commandment, treats human life as a refuse, kills even family members in the pursuit of power, nurturing the demon soul, using evil magic to spread terror across generations of innocent people. And for what? The sects of esoteric Buddhism had to unite and hunt you down because of what ancient way has done since time immemorial. Heaven itself ruled against you. Good and evil cannot exist together. Evil must be removed so that people may live in peace. Is it not obvious that I am here? In the past, my master arrived too late. Now God has given me the chance to complete what he could not, to let him rest in peace. Mo Chok, your end is also the final end of the ancient way. Mo Chok laughed. Hee 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 hee. Ha 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 ha. Do you think you'll be any different from your master? You're exactly like him, one step too late. You can barely stand, old man. Hold on to that weak breath of yours a little longer and wait to watch the Demon King appear. Ha 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 ha. Master Luong smiled. Yes, my master was one step too late. That is why he spent the rest of his life learning everything there was to know about the ancient way. And what you taught us on this journey has been genuinely precious. Do you still not realize what went wrong with your ritual? Mo Chok's smile vanished. He had felt something off. Why had the bridge stopped forming after the signal of the open character everyone present at the altar should have died? Why were so few deaths? What did you do? Why did my ceremony stop? Because every person in this village drank the antidote. After arriving in Dayan village all those years ago and finding 300 people dead, my master spent years determining the true cause. He eventually understood. You had poisoned them with a poison goo worm, placed it within their bodies both as a means of control and as a detonator. With a single spell, every carrier would die at once. My master found the antidote. When we entered this forest, one of our group nearly died from snake venom. But heaven, which loves all living things, arranged for us to find not only survival, but rare medicines, the 7-leaf wandflower and the Fuk, Lin, Tien, Ginseng, two of the key ingredients in the antidote to the ancient insect poison. Drawing on what you left behind at Dayan village, I prepared the antidote and made certain every person in Mist village received it. You can no longer control their lives. There are not enough souls to build the bridge. The demon soul cannot cross. Your plot has failed. You lost. Above at the altar, Lada waited for the villagers to begin dying. His henchmen were dead. The black smoke bridge had formed from their deaths. But the villagers, why were they not falling? He stared at them, kneeling, praying, alive. Why are they not dead? A blade of steel flashed at his eye level. Flash. A knife edge swept within a hair's breadth of Lada's face. He dropped fast and the blade missed his eye by nothing. The attacker was Tuok, who had seized the moment of Lada's distraction to strike. Tuok had chosen well. Unfortunately, Lada was not an ordinary fighter. He recovered instantly and drove a hook kick into Tuok's arm. The knife flew out of Tuok's hand. Tuok's whole arm went numb. The cloth covering half of Tuok's face had slipped. Lada studied what was revealed with eyes that burned. You're not one of mine. Who are you? Could it be? Tuok was in pain, but he smirked. Figured it out now? Too late. Watch it, Master Luong. I have done my part. He turned to face all the people of Miss Village and shouted at the top of his lungs. Everyone hear me. There are no gods here. Mo Chok and his followers want to kill all of you. Run. Get out of this area. Run now. Go. Pop. Lada's fists connected squarely and Tuok went down hard into the crowd of villagers. Hit by a blow like a hammer, Tuok could only lie there and move weakly. Lada approached without hurrying, reached down and lifted Tuok by the throat with one hand. He held him up in front of the terrified, kneeling crowd. This man has violated the god's instructions and stirred up divine anger. I will sacrifice him here and now. Villagers witness this punishment for those who defy the gods. Tuwak could not breathe. Lada's grip was iron. The world was going gray at the edges. Old Zen had warned him, don't act alone. Don't directly confront any of Mo Chok's guardians. But Tuwak had looked at Lada and seen behind him the image of his friend strapped to a red stone table, while 4 guards watched a worm devour him alive. Hatred had been stronger than wisdom. While still barely conscious, Tuwak thought, I'm sorry, everyone. Looks like I'm going first. Then a bright red light appeared at the periphery of his fading vision, and heat touched his skin from every direction. Lada dropped him. Tuwak hit the ground and lay still. Around him, the world had become chaos, screaming and rushing and heat. All around the altar area, the ground had erupted in fire, rising from below in sheets, engulfing everything, racing along the circular trench and turning it into a ring of flame that sealed the villagers inside. The wooden pillars became pillars of fire. The burning circle was complete. There was nowhere to run. The villagers screamed and scattered and ran at the fire, and some of them threw themselves through it. And those who did turned into living torches, thrashing and screaming until they fell. Everyone else pressed inward, away from the flames, and the fire pressed inward too. Ada stood untouched in the chaos, understanding exactly what he was looking at. Below in the cave, Mochar was slumped against the blood dragon stone. He looked like a guttered candle, but that savage smile had returned to his face. He. Did I lose? Have I truly lost? He. In Dayan village that year, I left after the killings, and it was because the bodies remained that the tantric sects were able to trace me and hunt me afterward. I learned from that. Since then, whenever I perform a ritual, I leave no trace. I burn everything, the souls, the bodies, all of it. Hellfire has been burning for some time now. The outcome is unchanged. Even if they didn't die from the poison goo worm, they will burn to death. And when the dead are enough, the bridge of ghosts will form. All your efforts, Master Luong, have come to nothing. Ha 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 ha. Master Luong shivered. He stood in the cave and looked at the altar's design in his mind. The pillar positions, the large ring, the Tibetan characters, the trenches, and understood what he had missed. It was a diagram, a formation encoded with fire. He coughed blood. His legs beakled. He went down on both knees. Bao caught him. Blood ran from Master Luong's mouth. He looked up at Mo Shak. You are so wicked. Bao lowered Master Luong gently and drew his knife. He moved toward the old shaman and felt Master Luong's hand close around his ankle. You cannot kill him. Bao's eyes blazed. Why? If I could save no one else, then at least I killed this bastard to avenge them all. Master Luong's voice was barely sound, because only he has the means to remove the demon mark from the baby. Bao stopped. He looked at the infant lying on the blood dragonstone, his daughter, sleeping, and the knowledge stopped his arm cold. He dropped the knife and sank to the ground. After everything, after the whole terrible road, Mo Chok was still the one holding the only thread that mattered. Mo Chok's laughter filled the cave. Hee hee hee. Hee hee hee. I succeeded then. Hee hee hee. Above at the altar, old Zhang had returned. All that met him was a wall of fire, terrible, absolute, hemming the villagers inside a burning circle with no exit. Through the flames, he could still see shapes moving, hear screaming and sobbing. He stood and could do nothing. The gap between the force of his hands and the force of that fire was not a gap he could cross. The fire and the will of a shaman across decades of preparation had made it so. Old Zheng looked at the sky. Dark clouds hid the moon. The night pressed down heavy and black. Old Zheng screamed into it. God has no eyes. So many people are dying. When, then, bump, ow, drip, drip, drip. Something landed on old Zheng's upturned face. Cold, soft, one drop, and then another. Rain. It came down in drops and then in sheets. A sudden pouring rain, the kind that erases everything it touches. The fire at the altar hissed and spat, and went dark in great rushing patches as the downpour overwhelmed it. Thunder rolled through the mountains. Lightning split the sky, and mixed with the rain, sounds of desperate weeping joy rose from the people who had been moments from death, and now found themselves in the dark and the wet and still alive. Old Zhang dropped to his knees in the mud. Thank you, thank you. He ran to the crowd, searching for Tuak. He found him on the ground, motionless, body bearing burn marks on exposed skin. Old Zhang shook him. Tuak's eyes opened, slowly, rain blurring his vision. He heard old Zhang's voice. He could barely form words. I died already, right? But your life is still very large. You can't die yet. Wake up. We succeeded. You did well. Tuak sat up. His head spun. He looked around at the rain-soaked clearing and the people who still knelt in the mud, weeping and embracing each other and looking at the sky. Then something wrong in the scene surfaced. Mo Chok's bodyguard. Where is he? He nearly killed me. The one who stayed to lead the ceremony. I haven't seen him. And the one who went after the explosion. I killed him. Everything here looks stable. But Master Luong and Bao, we have to find them. Something may have happened. Tuok struggled upright. But the people here. Old Zheng climbed up onto the black stone slab and raised his voice until the clearing went quiet. Still wearing the stolen guard uniform, still broad and imposing, the villagers took him for one of Mochuk's men. He used it. The ceremony ends. The rain is a blessing, a sign that fortune has come. Everyone return to your homes. Resume normal life tomorrow. The rain stopped, as though on command. Dark clouds peeled back from the face of the moon. The sky opened into clean air, and the moonlight that fell across the altar ground was clear and soft and different from what had come before, as if the rain had washed something away that had been hanging over the valley for decades. The people of Mist Village had not breathed air this light in years. They did not yet understand what had been done for them. But they rose from the mud with something changed in their faces. 12 o'clock had passed. The demon's sacrifice ritual had been broken. Below in the cave, everything turned. Mo Chok had believed to the last moment that he had won. The fire was burning. The bridge would form. Even the most capable opponents had given up, laying down. accepted what they could not change. He had been in control, and then heaven itself had answered with rain. Mochok vomited blood continuously now. He had truly failed. Everything, every year, every sacrifice, every crime had come to nothing in the span of minutes. From beneath the white hair hanging over his face, he screamed in a voice that had grown strange and broken. Heaven, earth, is unfair. I refuse to accept. Bao looked at the old shaman writhing and felt his skin crawl. What's wrong with him? Master Luong smiled, faintly, painfully, but with a real relief behind it. It is the will of heaven. Ha ha ha. It is truly heaven's will. Mochok can win against us, but he cannot win against heaven. The villagers have been saved. Thank God. He looked at Mochok directly and continued. Midnight has passed. The demon sacrifice ritual has failed. The demon soul cannot enter the body of the one bearing the demon mark. The child is no longer any use to you. Break the seal. Free her. Consider it the one good act of your final moments. In your life, you have killed too many people. Perhaps you have never once done something good, giving that child her life back, saving what can be saved. That is also saving yourself. Mochok leaned against the cracked blood dragonstone, no more substantial than shadow. He grinned. Hehehe. You still think you can remove the demon mark? Cough, cough. Even if I could do that. Yes, I failed. But this child will die regardless. She carries the demon mark. She was chosen by the demon king. That mark gave her the power of a demon. But without a demon soul to enter her and contain that power, her own body cannot hold it. When the devil's face on her back turns red, she will die. And that time is almost here. Because after the full moon night, after the demon sacrifice fails, the demon soul cannot enter the marked body, and the one bearing the mark dies as well. It was you who killed her. Hehehe. The baby must die because of you. Bane. Oh. Those were his last words. Bao drove a knife through Mochok's heart. He stood there for a moment, breathing hard. Then he turned and looked at the blood dragonstone, where his daughter lay sleeping, two small fangs at the corners of her lips, her eyes closed, her face peaceful. Bao's voice broke open. It's a girl. She looks like Luong. He reached toward her. Master Luong said sharply, Don't touch her yet. There is still residual magic around her. The barrier Mochok placed to protect her. If you break it carelessly, she may die immediately. Bao pulled back his hand, right next to his child, forbidden to touch her. He dropped to his knees in front of Master Luong. Please, do you have any way to save her? She's so small. She hasn't even had a chance to live. Please teach her. Do something. Master Luong looked at Bao with eyes heavy with grief and understanding and the weight of something he had been carrying for a while now. There is a way, but I cannot be certain it will succeed. And there is a price. Bao said nothing. He waited. There is an ancient spell, the reincarnation talisman. It transfers pain, suffering, even this, from one person to another. In simple terms, when this spell is placed between you and the child, all the suffering she carries will be transferred to you. If death comes, it will come to you instead of her. But there is a condition. During the transference, you must endure whatever comes without stopping, whatever it costs. Do you understand? Bao nodded. I understand. If she cannot survive, there's no reason for me to live. I would rather give my life so she continues to live. Master Luong, there is no one more suited to this than me. I am her father. Please, do it. I am ready. There was no time to consider longer. Every minute that passed was a minute the baby lost. Master Luong reached into his bag for a silver bowl and a sharp silver needle. He worked slowly, hands trembling, and explained the only obstacle. The baby is currently unstable. The spell requires a drop of her blood. I'm afraid that taking it will harm her in her present condition. But then, the blood dragonstone began to glow. A dark red halo, soft and warm, rose from the cracked stone and settled around the baby's small body like held breath, lifting her very slightly. Master Luong went still. The blood dragonstone is releasing its last spiritual energy to protect her. Over the years, Mo Chok drained and sealed the power of this stone, and now it is cracking apart. But what little remains is responding. Your love moved even this. It was enough. With the stone's protection steady around the child, Master Luong was able to take 3 drops of her blood without causing her harm. He collected Bao's blood in the silver bowl, added the infant's drops, wrote a seal on an amulet using the combined blood, burned the amulet to ash, and mixed the ash back into the blood. He looked at Bao. Take off your shirt. I will tattoo the seal into your skin with the silver needle. Once it is complete, the transference begins. Endure everything until it is finished. Bao removed his shirt without hesitation. He sat up straight, eyes fixed on the blood dragonstone where his daughter slept. His face was calm. If this was the last time he would look at her, he would look at her will. The seal was tattooed. The pain began almost instantly, a burning from the inside out, a pressure building in his chest, his organs. Bao pressed his hands over his sternum and breathed through his nose. Master Luong said, "Bear with it. It has only just started. I'm fine. How could I fall now?" Crack, crack. The blood dragonstone was breaking apart. The halo around the baby was fading. On her back, the devil face birthmark was darkening rapidly toward red. But she slept on, breathing softly, because everything that should have been tearing her apart was instead flooding into Bao. Bao ceased. A violent wave of pain struck him, like 1,000 needles driving simultaneously to every surface of his body from inside outward. Blood began to weep from his eyes, his nose, his mouth. He sat rigid and made no sound. His face was a mask of effort and agony and something deeper, something steady underneath the pain. He kept his eyes open long enough to look at his sleeping daughter. Even then, through everything, he smiled. Cock, cock. The blood at his mouth had turned black. His heart was being compressed by an invisible hand. He had to scream. Up, up, up. After that sound, Bao went very still. He sank forward slowly. His hair had gone white. His skin had gone tight against his bones. He knelt in the cave, emptied of everything, and did not move. Tuok and old Zhang arrived then, having found the cave entrance, having come down, and the scene that met them stopped them at the threshold. Bao, kneeling on the stone. Mo Chok, dead against the wall. Master Luong, sitting with his eyes closed. Tuok moved to the body nearest him and lifted the white hair from his face. Mo Chok, he's dead. You bastard. I wanted to kill you myself, but you're gone anyway. He turned and reached for Bao. Master Luong said quietly, "Don't touch him. A little longer. It will be over soon." Old Zhang repeated his question with a voice that was barely holding. "What happened?" Tuak looked at the knife still in Bao's grip, at the white hair, at the black blood. It was Mo Chok. Of course, it was Mo Chok. I should have cut his body apart when I had the chance. He pulled his knife toward the old shaman's corpse. Master Luong looked at him gently and shook his head. "He's already gone. Chopping the body serves nothing. This was Bao's choice, to save his daughter's life. I'm sorry, I could not find a better way." Crack, crack, crack. The blood dragonstone shattered and fell into pieces across the cave floor. Master Luong reached out and caught the baby before she could fall. The devil-faced birthmark on her back had disappeared, gone completely, leaving only clean, unmarked skin. Master Luong held her and looked at Bao. Old Zheng moved to Bao's side and lowered him slowly to the ground. Bao's eyes opened. They found Old Zheng and then Tuak, and he smiled. His lips moved and could not form words. His arms would not lift. Master Luong came to sit beside him and placed the baby down next to Bao's face. His voice was very soft. "You did it. The girl is completely safe. Not a single wound. She's still sleeping." Bao's eyes went to his daughter. He could not speak, but Master Luong placed a hand on his head, closed his eyes and listened, and then he said aloud what Bao could not. "Tuak, please take care of her for me. She is mine and Swang's. I am sorry to put this on you, but please help me. Old Zhang, I have never said this out loud, but I have always thought of you as my father. I'm sorry for the promises I haven't kept, the kindness I still owe you." That is what Bao wants to say. Tuak gripped Bao's hand with both of his and could not stop crying. He nodded, his voice wrecked. "I will take care of her. I will love her as my own. As heaven and earth are my witnesses, I will love her with everything I have." Old Shang was beyond speech, but he steadied himself enough to stay present when Master Luong spoke again. "Don't grieve. I am not alone. Swang is waiting for me. She is already smiling at me. Thank you, all of you. I never imagined my life would carry such extraordinary friends. My journey with everyone ends here, but even now I have no regrets. Goodbye, Master Luong. Goodbye, Tuak. Goodbye, Old Zhang. Daughter, your parents will be in heaven. We will always watch over you. We love you. I am going." Bao closed his eyes. The smile at the corners of his mouth held. He was gone, but quietly and full. In the morning, they burned everything connected to Mo Chua and searched everywhere for La Da, but found no trace of him. He had vanished into the forest after the altar ceremony failed, taking the jar containing the demon soul. Where he had gone, no one knew. As long as the villagers remained in Mist Village, the danger lingered. La Da was still out there, carrying the last living piece of the ancient way, but the villagers wanted to leave. They had lived their entire lives sealed behind this mountain, and for the first time in decades, the curse was lifted. Mo Chok was dead. The poison goo worms in their bodies neutralized. The outside world was unknown to them, but they wanted it. Old Zheng stood up and spoke. If you want, come to my village. The land there is wide and the people are few. As long as everyone works together, anything is possible. No matter where we were born, we are all Vietnamese. The same blood, the same bones. What do you say? The villagers looked at each other and shouted their agreement. They burned the wooden house, the altar, the underground chamber, the remnants of the blood dragonstone, and everything else of Mo Chok's that could be found. Master Luong grieved that Lada had escaped, that the danger of the ancient way was not fully gone, but on balance, this journey had succeeded. One person had been lost, and in exchange, many lives had been saved. That reckoning would weigh on Master Luong for as long as he lived. From the moment Bao gave her into his keeping, Tuak never let the infant out of his arms. She had slept through the end of the world, this child, this innocent creature who had been the axis of everything. When she woke and found herself looked at by Tuak's tear-streaked face, she did not cry. She looked up at him. After a moment, her hand reached up and patted his cheek. Old Zheng tried to approach, and she hid behind Tuok's arm, peeking out with one round eye at the bald, withered old man before retreating again. That made both Old Zheng and Master Luong laugh. Master Luong asked, "Have you thought of a name for her?" Tuok shook his head. "My mind is too simple for naming. Teacher, please help." Master Luong thought for a moment. "May I suggest Min Chao? The name means that the daughter is like a bright pearl to her parents. Or more than that, this baby's life was given back by her parents' love. The love of father and mother is always the most precious pearl in this world. I think it is a beautiful name." Old Jane nodded with deep satisfaction. Tuak held the girl up and laughed. "Ha ha ha, Min Chao. From today, your name is Min Chao." The baby seemed to feel the rightness of it. She lifted her tiny hand and pressed it against Tuak's face, babbling. "Min Chao. Hi hi hi. Min Chao." After 3 days of rest, Master Luong, Old Jing, Tuok, and all the people of Mist Village departed together. Their destination was Old Jing's village, where the land was broad and the welcome was genuine. The integration was not difficult. As Old Jing had said, in our times, compatriots come together. On the first night, they built a fire large enough for everyone to sit around. They held hands and formed a circle and sang and danced until the mountains rang with it. Gongs, chants, voices rising and falling together in something that felt to Master Luong like a piece of the world being restored. He named it Kuch Kai Huan, the triumph song. 2 days later, Master Luong prepared to leave. Tuak and Old Zhong begged him to stay. He shook his head. All good things end. This journey achieved much. Not only did we save many lives, but my master's soul can now rest. I still have things to do. I cannot stay, though I want to see how everyone's lives unfold. But I believe everything will be well. Ha ha ha. If there's fate, we will meet again. Tuak wanted to kneel in gratitude. Master Luong stopped him with a shake of the head. Tuak embraced him instead, clung to him, sobbing like a child. He remembered the cowshed, the rice balls, the long nights lying in the dark side by side. He did not want to let go, but Tuak had something to hold to now. That would be enough. Master Luong asked him, "What are your plans for you and the baby?" Tuak wiped his face and answered plainly, "I will give her the best things this world has. I am certain of it." Master Luong nodded. Something in the directness of it put him at ease, because Tuak was a good man, and good men could be trusted with something precious. The next morning was still foggy when Master Luong bowed to old Chung, and Tuak turned and walked into the mist. They watched until his figure dissolved into the gray and disappeared. The birds were beginning in the branches. The day was beginning, and Master Luong walked alone, as he had always walked, forward through whatever fog the next road carried. Some distance from the village, he stopped to rest under a broad tree and opened his bag for the rice balls they had packed for the road. His hand found something unexpected, a bundle of brown cloth, fist-sized, heavy. He lifted it and unwrapped it slowly. What was inside made him laugh, long and full, nodding with the kind of satisfaction that arrives only at the end of things. "You devil, so this is what made you so confident about the girl's future. Well done, very well done. I forgot that you had been to that place. No wonder my bag has felt heavy from the moment I left." Ha ha ha. He ate his rice ball. Then he stood up and continued walking. No one knows where Master Luong went next, but everywhere he passed, those who encountered him carried the feeling long afterward, a deep, lasting gratitude, the sense of having been found in the dark by someone who knew the way. And so, the story of the wandering old man from China who moved through the length and breadth of Vietnam, leaving strange trails of salvation behind him, was passed from person to person until he had a name: the Chinese teacher.